Hello there everybody, Below10,000 here, bringing you another Nintendo news update because Nintendo has officially released the list of the top 26 most downloaded American Switch eShop games of 2018. Now this list comes courtesy of NintendoEverything.com and you can check out the official source down below. However, before we get into this top 26, I want to just explain that this is a list of the most downloaded games and it includes free-to-play games, namely 5 different free-to-play games, and they're all in the top 6. So what I'm going to be doing is I will tell you the free-to-play games now, but I'm actually going to take them out of the main list so that we can see which paid-for games did the best. Now, the 5th most well-performing free-to-play game was Arena of Valor. I personally haven't heard of it. I don't really keep up with these free-to-play games. Warframe was in 5th. I know Nintendo had been pushing that one really badly. So Arena of Valor on the main list was in 6th out of 26 spots. Warframe was 5th. Paladins was 3rd. Fallout Shelter was 2nd. I believe that is a free-to-play game. And then number 1, also topping the charts, is Fortnite, because of course it is. Of course Fortnite would top everything that it's on, because it is Fortnite. So those free-to-play games out of the way, there are 21 games that were pay-to-play on the eShop that were downloaded this year, that were the most downloaded in America. Now, first things first, I'm gonna say I was very surprised not to see Monster Hunter Generations. It didn't make the cut, and that really surprised me because I thought that people really enjoyed that game and I thought people really liked it. There are gonna be some people who are upset that games like Hyper Light Drifter and Transistor didn't make it, and there are gonna be some people who are upset that some games did better than others, but let's get into it and see which games managed to stay on this list. Now, in 21st place of the paid games is Golf Story. I'm very surprised that Golf Story has done as well as it has. I believe it was a 2017 Switch game. It was one of the first indie games on the Switch, and I'm genuinely shocked that it is still selling as well as it is. I haven't really heard anyone talking about it recently. I didn't think it was actually on people's radars still, but it is a great game. It harkens back to the days of the Mario Golf games, where you would have an actual overworld you could explore, and yet it also kind of has a bit of a Stardew feel when it comes to the graphics. Interestingly enough, Stardew Valley, as well as Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, do not make an appearance on this list, so those evergreen titles certainly didn't pay as much as some of these new titles, which may be a good thing, maybe a bad thing. In 20th place, we have Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. To no one's surprise, Shovel Knight always sells well no matter what platform it's on, and Nintendo Switch, it's portable, it's perfect for this game, it's better than the 3DS version. I feel like the only reason it didn't sell higher was the fact that the new arcade mode, like the Smash sort of mode, is coming in 2019, and I imagine that it is going to sell a lot more then, because I believe that means it's going to be a completed game. At least that's if I've been following it correctly. I think King of Cards comes out next year as well, so that's going to be pretty interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Shovel Knight can keep this hold on the North American eShop list. Crash Bandicoot is in next at 19th place. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy doing very well for a remaster. Very surprised that it didn't sell more, given the hype that was surrounding the Switch port, and the fact that a lot of people said they actually preferred the Switch port because it wasn't so intense with the graphics, whereas the PlayStation 4 version, that Crash fur effect just was too much, and I think Crash Insane Trilogy on the Switch kind of hit the best of both worlds. Glad to see it's doing as well as it is, though. Very proud of the game. Okay, so next up we have Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon is a roguelike game that was originally on the PC. I don't know if it's on other consoles, probably is. And it is kind of a very grim game. It goes for a very different tone, and I'm surprised that a lot of Switch owners really picked up on it, because I really just kind of imagine most Switch owners like the happier games and the fun games, and when a game like Darkest Dungeon does really well, given that the Switch's user base is a lot of children as well, you've got to be impressed by that, and I think it's great that Darkest Dungeon is doing so well because it is a really, really, really good game. So, good on you, Darkest Dungeon. Next up, we have Okami HD. Okami HD is a game that came out earlier this year. I purchased the game, had a few issues with it, where when I played the game, it would cause one of my Joy-Cons to drift to the left. I think that issue is gone now, and I have a Pro Controller, so I'm probably going to go back and play it, but what I played of that game, I absolutely loved. It felt like a Zelda game. It really did. It just felt like a Zelda game, but with this beautiful watercolor Japanese or Chinese-inspired art style. I'm not sure which culture it is. I'm just going to say them both just so that I don't offend anyone. It is truly a beautiful game. Amaterasu is a lovely protagonist, absolutely gorgeous visuals, and it's just a game that really, for a port of a PlayStation 2 game that came out over 10 years ago, that's impressive. Next up, we have the port of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is a game that is probably always going to sell well because it is just well known as one of the best platformers on the Switch. A lot of people hail it as one of the best for reasons, and I have not personally played the game, but I am going to be buying it at some point because I want to see what all the hubbub is about. There are 4 playable characters. You got your Donkey Kong, you got your Diddy Kong, you got your Dixie Kong, and you got your Cranky Kong, which everyone loves a bit of Cranky Kong. You got Funky Kong as well, You got that funky mode, which is probably part of the reason why it sold so well. And Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze just deserves to be here. It's a port, but it's an impressive port, given it is still selling amazingly. At number... Actually, I don't remember the numbers, because I'm doing it different to what the numbers say on here, but next up on the list, Wizard of Legend, an indie game that came out this year. I didn't actually play much of it. I saw it on the eShop every time I went on there, so I'm glad it sold well. I don't really know what the gameplay is. I think it was like a roguelike, question mark. I'm not sure. I don't remember I feel like there might have been co-op compatibility. I can't remember. But I can vividly remember what the game looks like. I just don't remember what the game actually is. But I'm really proud of it. I didn't think it was actually going to do as well as it did. I didn't think it was... I wouldn't say as outstanding as other games, but it didn't really jump out at me. So I'm very impressed to see it here, because every other game on this list I think I really respect, and I've got to respect Wizard of Legend for making it on here and proving that first impressions can be deceiving. So next up we have Diablo 3, the Eternal Collection. Diablo 3 I think was always going to sell well on Switch. There were a lot of people who really like the Diablo series, and bringing that to a portable handheld like the Switch I think is just a brilliant choice. On top of that, this could be a lot of Nintendo's fans' first experience with the Diablo series. Like, not everyone is going to have played this Diablo series on PC or wherever the other games were released. So a lot of new people are going to be getting into this series and enjoying it, and I think it's good that it's doing so well because it will encourage Blizzard to work together with Nintendo on more projects. Next up, we have Kirby Star Allies. Kirby Star Allies is the first-party game that I think made the smallest splash this year, if we're going by unique, new first-party games. A lot of people seemed a little bit disappointed by Kirby Star Allies, and while I personally haven't played the game, and I haven't played a Kirby game in a long time, so I don't have as high expectations, it is a shame that a lot of people were kind of disappointed by the game, because it does hurt its perception. Because I doubt Kirby Star Allies is a bad game. I doubt that heavily. I think the fact is that the Kirby formula just hasn't changed ever since Kirby was created. It's the most consistently well-made series of games out there, and no one can tell me otherwise. The only difference here is that that consistency seems to have hurt Star Allies, despite the fact that it was supported with so much DLC this year, which I found very impressive. You got to play as different characters from all of Kirby's past games, a lot of enemies, some friends, and I really like that. I think that was a brilliant marketing tactic. I mean, seeing Daroche in beautiful 3D HD, beautiful, love it. Squeak Squad, one of my personal favorite Kirby games. So next up on the list, I'm not saying surprised, but I'm quite interested. Undertale is here. Did better than Kirby. For a game that came out very recently, I believe it was in September that it came out, or October, one of the two, Undertale has made a splash on the Switch. I guess there were just a lot of people on Nintendo platforms who were kind of just waiting for this game because maybe they hadn't played it. I know Outside Extra, a YouTube channel I watch, hadn't played it until it came out on Switch, and that was their first experience with it, and they liked it. So I guess maybe it's a good thing. Undertale is appealing to an audience that didn't really get around to it before, and I'm really glad to see that Undertale is doing well. It's not the best indie game on this list, but for a game that came out in 2015, it's doing pretty damn well, and I imagine Deltarune coming out probably helped it a little bit as well. So next up we have Octopath Traveler. Octopath Traveler manages to make it onto this list, which is impressive given that, arguably, of all the games that kind of promised something this year, I feel like Octopath Traveler is the one that seemed to let down the most people, at least in terms of what they were expecting versus what they got. Like, there's a lot of stories and character development, but they don't really link up too crazily, too amazingly well. And then, apparently, the true final boss is absolutely hellish to get to, and most people just choose not to do it because it is just ridiculous. But at the same time, even though Octopath Traveler didn't really give everyone what they wanted, it looks stunning, the music is gorgeous, and the gameplay is traditional JRPG fun. I played the demo of the game, and while it didn't necessarily click with me, as maybe other games have, I completely get the audience that would absolutely adore this game, and I'm glad to see that it did well enough to score pretty highly on the charts. 16th in terms of the free-to-play. I believe that means it would be 11th if we ignore all the free-to-play games, which is really good. On 15th, we have Overcooked 2. Which is also in 10th place. Overcooked 2, rounding out our top 10. Very impressed by this game. This is a classic party game that everyone has been saying is amazing on every platform it's been on, and I think it's just perfect for a Switch handheld. It's a party game. It is a simple co-op game that you can play with a certain amount of people, and there's a lot of crazy fun stuff going on, and it kind of reminds me of a Mario Party minigame, if I'm being honest. Like, a lot of the gameplay is giving me like Mario Party minigame vibes, and that is a good thing when it comes to appealing to the Switch audience. Overcooked 2 is not the best indie game on this list, but goddamn, it really did perform very well, and I'm very glad to see that it did well enough, and it made the most of its E3 slot that it got in Nintendo's conference this year. At number 9 overall, we have Dead Cells. Dead Cells is a game that so many people have loved this year. Some people are calling it their game of the year. Some people are putting it in their top 5s, in their top 3s, in their top 2s. Here on the Nintendo eShop for America, it's only in the top 10, but what can you do? Dead Cells, brilliant game. It's a game that everyone is like, you should play. You really should play. It's like a Metroidvania. It's also a roguelike. It's a little bit like Dark Souls, and everyone's just like, Billy, play it. And I want to play it. I just have not bought it. I will buy it. I probably own it by mistake on like Steam or something. I need to check. But I will definitely be buying Dead Cells when I can. I'll probably play it on Switch because I feel like that's going to be a very fun purchase for me, and I'm glad to see that it did so bloody well. I keep forgetting that Dead Cells is this year, though. I always thought it was a 2017 game for some reason, so that's really crazy. The next two are a joint position. They actually come in 8th and 7th respectively, and they are Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu in 8th and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee in 7th. I guess Eevee was just a little bit more popular because she is more adorable when you pet her. But both games are absolutely worthy of being here. They are major sellers for Nintendo. If you saw the sales figures for the physical releases, then you knew that the digital releases were gonna sell really well. And given that this game, this pair of games has only been out for a month at this point, just over a month, that's incredibly impressive, managing to beat out so many other games. and there's only a few games that are really ahead of it, and most of them have come out before these games, so that's really, really impressive. I personally have Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, haven't played it yet, gonna play it on stream or on YouTube, I've not really decided which, but I really want to give this game a fair shot. I know a lot of Pokemon purists are not too happy with these games, but you know what, I want to see if I enjoy it and have fun with it, and I might actually enjoy it because there's not as many Pokemon to collect, and that means it's not as stressful. So next up, in 6th place overall, we have Mario Tennis Aces. Who would have thought that Mario Tennis Aces would make it to the 6th most selling pay-to-play game on the Nintendo eShop in America? I don't think I thought that, because Mario Tennis Aces did not have the best launch. The game, in its base launch state, was not good. Like, it was bare bones, it didn't feel finished, but they have done so much work updating this game. We now have doubles tournaments, we have various little events to get new skins, the tournaments have been overhauled, the gameplay is more fun, we have a new adventure mode area. Honest to God, this is probably the game that has improved the most across the full year, and I am just in love with Mario Tennis Aces. It has 75 hours on my Nintendo Switch. That should tell you everything you need to know. It is probably my second most played game of the year, next to maybe Mario Kart. So I think that is incredibly impressive, and I think Mario Tennis Aces just deserves your attention now. It is in a state where it is worth the money now, and with all the new characters that are going to be coming in, Pauline's going to be there, you can play tennis with the mayor of New Donk City. It's so worth it. I really encourage you guys to try this game out. Now, in 5th place, and our 3rd best indie game, well, 2nd best indie game actually, because one of them doesn't count as an indie game anymore. 2nd best indie game on this list, Celeste. Now, I bet a lot of you were thinking Celeste was going to be the best indie game on this list, but just you wait, just you wait. Celeste, however, is a beautiful, brilliant platformer with an amazing soundtrack, a brilliant, heart-wrenching story that, while it didn't grip me personally, because I don't think I could relate as well to the character, it did grip and resonate with a lot of people, and I can completely respect that. Is why a lot of people have actually chosen it as their game of the year, because the soundtrack and the story just resonated with them, and it just felt special to them, and I get that. It's personally not, like, in my top 5 at all, but I really enjoyed my time with Celeste. I really enjoyed the gameplay, I really enjoyed the satisfaction of beating some of the platforming. I didn't really go to any of the B or C side tapes because I just kind of wanted to do the story, and if you want to experience the story, it is a great game, and I would highly recommend it. In 4th place overall, Super Mario Party. Super Mario Party is also the 2nd best selling first-party game from Nintendo in North America on the eShop this year. Super Mario Party sold a lot. Lots of parents bought it for their kids. Lots of people came to go back to the dice-throwing formula that this series once had. Now, Super Mario Party for me is not the best game in the world. I have not purchased it because I don't find any reason to purchase it. The problem is, they have made it this couch co-op game, which is what Super Mario Party has always been. However, it's 2018. They shouldn't neglect the fact that if you can get those board games to work on an online, you are gonna sell fucking millions. And yet they could not do that. Nintendo just consistently does not know what to do with their online in-games, and it hurts them. It really, really hurts them, because Super Mario Party, if you could play the board online with your friends, play mini-games online, which you can already do in a marathon-style thing, it would be a must-buy. I also think this game needs more boards. It needs DLC, because for $60, you're getting 4 boards, and maybe a lot of characters, and a bare-bones single-player mode, but it's just not worth it at the moment. I just don't think it is worth the price of admission. It's impressive it's selling so well, not really worth it. But now we come to the top 3 games that you have to pay for, and at number 3, also the best indie game of the year, I'm so proud. It's Hollow Knight! Hollow Knight is the 3rd best selling game on the Nintendo Switch when it comes to pay-to-play. I am so impressed by Hollow Knight and the way that it has handled its Switch release, and it has just done so bloody well for itself. Hollow Knight, every time I go into the eShop, is always there. It's always in the top charts. It was in Europe, and I'm glad to see that it was in America as well. A lot of people were skeptical that Hollow Knight was going to do well because the Switch release just kept getting delayed and delayed, and then bam, E3 comes around, the game gets revealed, all the DLC packs, you even have the Godmaster Boss Rush DLC pack as well, and I'm just so proud of the game. It is my favorite game of 2017. It's one of my favorite games of all time now. It is an amazing Metroidvania that just, you can sink 50 plus hours into and not feel guilty. It is amazing. I replayed this game on the Switch this year, and it was just as good as when I played it on the PC last year. In fact, I would say I felt more comfortable playing it on the Switch than I did on the PC. And I would say, like, being out for less time than Celeste, which had critical acclaim all year, and then surpassing Celeste on terms of sales, I mean, that just says it all, really. So in 2nd place overall is Minecraft. Minecraft dominates every platform, it really does. Kids love Minecraft, adults love Minecraft, people love these console editions of Minecraft. I can't really get behind them because I've played Java and there's just no going anywhere else when you play Java, even if Mojang doesn't want to support Java. And I absolutely love Minecraft. It is a game that I have grew up with. It was a game that was for a very long time a major focal point of my YouTube channel until halfway through this year, actually. And I still stream it on Twitch sometimes. I love the game, and I'm glad to see that it's doing really well on the Switch. But you all wanted to know what the #1 best-selling paid game is. Do you really have to ask? It's Smash Bros. Ultimate, of course it is. The game that has been out for the least amount of time has already sold more copies than pretty much every other game except for Paladins, Fallout Shelter, and Fortnite, and chances are it's probably going to sell more than at least Paladins and Fallout Shelter. Maybe not Fortnite, maybe Fortnite will stay in the end, but frickin' Smash Bros. Just so brilliant. I love that this game has just topped the charts. It's only been out for like, what, 3 weeks now? And yet it is at the top of the charts. It is dominating sales. It just shows how bloody good this game is, or at least how good the anticipation for this game is, because it is a fabulous, fantabulous, fantastic, freaking amazing game. And I am so glad to see that it is getting all of the success that it deserves. I imagine that this game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, is going to be in this chart next year as well. I just think it's very impressive. So that is the best-selling, most downloaded North American Switch eShop games of 2018, courtesy of NintendoEverything.com, who had this information compiled from Nintendo. Thank you everyone for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. What games did you download this year? Which games were your favorite? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.